Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to do this one problem. You have to retrieve multiple columns from more than one table. And this time we only want to include vendors that do not have any invoices. And you should get 88 vendors back from the query. Now let's do this to try to understand how we can get to that 88 vendors. So first of all, let's do select star from vendors. And you're getting 122 rows or 122 vendors. If you do just a simple inner join between vendors and invoices, you have 114 rows, or in other words, 114 invoices with duplicate vendors. For example, if you look into to the results, we have 2 invoices that belong to IBM and 3 invoices that belong to Blue Cross, which is the same result as we can get from using select star from invoices. That basically shows you 114 invoices. And if we want to get only vendors that have invoices and also unique, we have to do this following. Select distinct vendor name from doing an inner join between vendors and invoices. And these are the vendors that have invoices. So if you subtract 34 from 122, you are getting 88. And that is basically 88 vendors without invoices. And how do we do that? So let's get started. Select vendor ID, vendor name, and then invoice ID. From, let's say if we're going to use vendors as the first table or the left table, we know now that an inner join is not going to work, but let's keep going for now. In order to join these two tables correctly, you still have to follow how the relationship is between the two tables. And again, if you look at the diagram, between vendors and invoices, the relationship is one vendor can have many invoices. That means you still have to do the primary key vendor ID equals to invoices.vendor ID as the foreign key to help make sure that the data in between these two tables are synchronized correctly. But an inner join is not going to work. In this case, we have to use a left join, because a left join will give you also everything in the left table. And in this case, because we put vendors on the left, you're going to get all the vendors from the vendors table. So let's see what's going to happen if we execute this. Now, first of all, we have a problem with that vendor ID. And it says ambiguous column name vendor ID. Because it's ambiguous because this column vendor ID exists in more than one table. So you have to specify which table exactly you want to get it from. Let's try again. As you scroll down the results, you can see that we are getting both vendors that have invoices and vendors that do not have invoices. And how are we going to get to those vendors that do not have invoices? We have to add a where clause, and as you can see from the result, our condition should be where invoice ID is no. Let's try again. As you can see, we are now getting 88 rows or 88 vendors that do not have invoices. Now we have to finish this one with an order by. Let's try again. We are getting 88 records, and again 88 vendors that do not have invoices. And that's the end of this video.